How Long Gone is here. It is Thursday. You're listening Friday. Hope you're having a bomb ass Friday. Chris, what's up with you, bro?
Oh, I'm kind of feeling it, TJ, to be honest. I've had a lot of stuff happen that
Did you run out of microdose?
No. My microdoses, don't worry, it's still fine. That's not a problem.
Okay.
No, it's just, my street is a fucking mess because they're trimming the trees. So it's just a shit show out here.
Oh.
Guys everywhere, no parking available. But yeah, and then last episode, while we were recording, my vehicle got towed. I haven't been towed since I was probably 20 years old. But I'd parked in a red zone, which is something I tend to do because there's a great spot right in front of the house. That usually I'm rarely ticketed for that. But
I mean, it is shocking that you went that long parking potentially hundreds of times in a red zone in West Hollywood, a
notoriously
parking attendant,
yes,
friendly zone.
They respected
it ain't city of industry.
They respected my genus for years, it seems like, and kept me off the shit list. But this time there was an added bonus because of my kind of lack of concentration and being spread too thin. I did forget to pay my registration for maybe a full year. So I was rocking the 2020.
No comment.
I was rocking the 2022 sticker.
Yeah,
and
they love when that happens.
They picked me up for that. So while we were recording, this happens. I then go drive to the DMV directly after in the other car. I drive to the DMV and sit in line for 20 minutes. They call my number. I explain what happened. They ask for my VIN number and license plate. I pay them $1,500.
Yeah,
they give me all. Covers all my fees. It updates the registration for till 2024. So then I think I'm in the clear, and I leave. As I'm leaving the DMV parking lot, I notice that the other car has a flat tire. So I pull in to the local European garage that we take the car to for service. He's like, "Oh, you're good. Let me fill it up for you." He helps me out. I give him a 20. Right. I go back to the house. I park that car. I get in an Uber and I go to the impound yard that is weirdly next to High Mat of all places.
That's convenient.
And I get to the impound yard and you can imagine how friendly they are. They buzz you in like you get buzzed in like you're literally going to visit a prisoner in jail.
Yeah, that's right.
And I get to the window and I'm like, "Hey, I just need to pick up my car. Here's my registration." And they're like, "Oh, we can't help you. You don't have your release ticket." And I'm like, "What? No one told me about a release ticket. What is that?" They're like, "Oh, you have to go down to Wilshire, get this release ticket, bring that back, and then we can charge you $350 to get the car back." So I have to Uber to this, office building on Wilshire, wait in another line, get this ticket, then go back to the impound yard, pay $350, and then I was able to leave with my automobile.
Jesus, this is so. I mean, I feel bad for you. I'm sympathizing, but it is refreshing to see Chris Black do them Gene stuff, I will say.
Well, you know what it was. I was talking about it yesterday. I went to meet Tim and at Community Goods, and I was talking about this, and it's like when this kind of stuff would happen to you when you were like 20 and you had no money, it was like a real problem. Yeah. Like I can remember having to be like, "What the fuck? Like I don't have $300 to do this." So the fact,
like your car gets towed and you're like, "Well, just keep it. It's yours now." Like I will never be. Every day it goes, it's another $300, and you're compounded, and you're like, "This is my new life. I guess I'll be homeless."
Yeah, this is my. No, it's literally. I remember being like, this Honda Civic has a hole in the door, and it might not be worth it. I might save money if I just leave it here.
I'm going to donate it to NPR.
The silver lining, it's a nice tax break. The silver lining was that, you know what? The financial part sucks, but at least I can afford it and it doesn't break me. And I'm lucky to be in that position. So I was able.
She said it's a gratitude exercise. And I'm a stizzle. Good for you, Chris.
I turned it into a gratitude exercise, and I know that might be surprising for you, but that's called growth.
Well, I would say that an exercise like that and a lesson like this, learning it's priceless. But in this instance, you can put a price on it. It's about $1,500, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a priceless $1,850 lesson.
It's a price of a modestly loaded MacBook Air. We're not talking about the new M3 matte black. This is sort of a straight down the line. 8 gigs of RAM.
Still a useful machine. Yeah. So it's fine. It wasn't great because I've been very busy and it really fucked. I was like on calls in the back of Uber. It was not great, but we're back, baby.
Your life was a depressing movie, and congrats on being having your registration tags up to date like an adult.
Thank you.
I don't think it has nothing to do with your lack of responsibility. I'm gonna say it's because you're just so used to being a New York City kind of guy, where these types of things, if you don't have to deal with it for a long time, you just kind of forget.
No, honestly, it feels like that.
That reflex is gone.
Yeah, I haven't done that it feels like I was like 20 years old. It was the like feeling I was having physically. But we're back. Yeah. We're live. We're getting ready for our show on Saturday. We have a big night out tonight. I have a big night out tomorrow night. The fun doesn't stop.
The writer's strike is over.
Oh, the writer's strike is over.
We're all celebrating.
Thank God all these cartoons with bad jokes can come back on the air.
Stir Crazy will be slammed this weekend. Oh, actually, they're closed this weekend. Tonight and tomorrow.
All the local eateries that have been suffering. Speaking of local eateries, we should talk about what I did last night.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I drove 35 minutes in traffic to the beautiful neighborhood of Los Feliz to dine at a restaurant I've heard a lot about, but never really been to, called All Time, with friend of the show, Ryan O'Connell.
Yes.
He loves it there, and I have to say, the crowd and staff was very attractive, like maybe the most attractive I've seen in LA in a very long time, in like a nice way, not in like a Beverly Hills way, in like a real way. Ran into Annie Hamilton. Annie Hamilton was there. That is a
selling point.
Yeah, Annie Hamilton was there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was a selling point. But I have to say, I was skeptical, and I don't know why I'm skeptical of this restaurant. It just feels like a place that I don't know. I just didn't go there. No one I know really goes there, right, or I don't hear about it that often.
To me, it always seems like just a place where rich families like pick up their like to-go food kind of thing.
It was bumping.
Yeah.
Bumping.
It is bumping.
But it was good. It was good. There was a great burrata. The salad, the big salad that they're famous for, was delicious. Ryan had a steak, and then
what's up with the big salad?
It's just a giant salad with a nice lemony
People
dressing.
Talk about it.
It's got a nice lemony dressing, some seeds. I didn't read closely. Obviously, it's dimly lit.
With your mouth, was there anything beyond standard lettuces and vinaigrette that makes this a $40 salad beyond its size and volume?
To be fair, it's not $40. It's like $23, which at that point is not that crazy. That's not really that crazy. I mean, maybe it changes.
That's a Caesar
seasonally.
At Craig's.
Yeah. Well, the real problem was that it had some sort of fruit in it that I didn't notice, like thinly sliced apple, maybe, or pear, probably.
Persimmons are in season. Not to be that bitch.
I hate that. So I was a little upset with that. But overall, the desserts were fucking amazing.
Keep your fruits out of my salad.
It was quite good, and I don't know if I'll be heading back over there because it's such a haul, but it was good, and I was impressed by the looks of the crowd, which, that's all I'm kind of really there for.
And they have their beer and wine. They don't have a full bar, right?
Yeah.
Or do they not have alcohol?
No, they have wine. They do not. I don't think they do have a full bar. That's a good point. But these like rich Los
Many
Feliz
places don't.
Families with the Volvo station wagons, they don't, all they want is natty. They're not ready for the hard stuff.
I'm not expecting it to.
They're not ready for the hard stuff. Yeah. But yeah, we should go check it out. It's honestly, it was good. I'll go back with you. I want to hear your opinion on it.
Can somebody else pay?
It's not, that's the thing also. I feel like people said it was really expensive. It's not that expensive.
Yeah, I guess everyone I know who's talked about it, they said it's a little pricey, but they're like, what'd you get? And you're like, well, we got the whole halibut for $7, and you're like, okay, well, that's going to be a high ticket item.
The portions are very American, I have to say. I was stunned by the size of the portions.
Okay,
plentiful.
Okay, then. Did you? Also, we recorded an episode that's going to come out on Monday instead of our one-on-one pods because we did too many one-on-ones in Australia. But we have friend of the show, star of stage and screen, Nathan Lane, coming up. So that'll be a nice little treat. He's very funny. A lot of people are hitting me up about the Mountain Goats episode. They're like, what the fuck was that? Carolyn listened to it. She's like, this guy, I don't like anything that he's talking about, but I like listening to him talk about it. You know what I mean?
That's the magic of being a professional broadcaster, even if it's by accident.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Like, he's so fun to talk to and so fun to listen to. I'm never going to play Magic the Gathering, and I'm probably never going to go to Durham, North Carolina, but that's okay. That's okay. You know what I mean? It's still, that's what we do this for, is we want to introduce, you know what I mean, maybe a different flavor into the profile if we can.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll be doing that today with our guest.
But because he's he's from our enemy, the Ringer. So this is kind of a battle royal with the Ringer. No, he's an OG. He's also a professional broadcaster, actually.
Yeah. And he goes back with friend of the show, David Cho, an OG blogger. He said he's a music head.
Yes.
He's a Philly guy, you know, but it is sort of, I feel like whenever we talk to people from the Ringer, you know, I guess our guest today, especially, like it is the same formula that we have. It's, you know, two dudes talking about something kind of at length, and, you know, you have a little diversion and you go off on a tangent about something else randomly, but the things that we're talking about are like regional Krishna hardcore bands and, like, you know, a salad at a restaurant that no one's ever been to.
Yes.
And they're talking about like professional football and the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
So
and the difference,
it's much more palatable to the average person.
That difference is stark,
which makes me feel like I'm leaving some money on the table, you know?
That's what I was going to say. That difference is stark, but it seems to be working out for them financially.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes me wonder if I guess we should double down on our Travis Kelce chatter. Is that going to help? Let's get into the zeitgeist.
I don't think so. I think we're not the guys for that job, and that's okay. And that's why the Ringer is able to exist and dominate in such a way. But they talk about everything over there.
I'm allowed to say wife beater, and they're not, so it's a trade-off.
There's
right?
definitely some rule. There's definitely a little more rules over there. I would have to guess.
I'm curious to ask them about that.
I wanted to talk about something that actually just got sent to our chat, but I saw it this morning about Bhad Bhabie posted her OnlyFans deposits, the money she's earned from OnlyFans.
Sure.
And it is obviously it's a kind of declining number over time because it's subscription based, but April 2021, viral sensation Bhad Bhabie pulled in $18 million from OnlyFans in 1 month. $18 million. The following month 6, the following month 4, 3, 2, 1. So we're looking at, you know, $30 million in 1 year, and from what I understand, she doesn't even show. She's not even nude,
right,
on the OnlyFans.
Suggestive photos.
So it's suggestive photos, which makes me think that Bhad Bhabie is a more brilliant businessman than Bill Simmons.
Business person. Yeah, is I guess it's cool, and it's disheartening and cool and exciting and interesting that Bhad Bhabie made more money than most people in 2021.
Most people, she made more money than most rich people. Like, it's a fucked up. Like, this is a fucked up fact.
More money than most professional athletes, movie stars, directors, producers.
She's definitely pulling in more than like Emma Roberts from American Horror Story. Like, this is good bread. This is fucking good.
Emma
bread.
Roberts.
30 mil is good bread. It's crazy, and I just this to me is the kind of this is the North Star of the creator economy. When you can post suggestive photos on a subscription service and earn $30 million, that's a country I want to live in. You know what I mean? That's good. That makes me feel good that this is possible.
I think I don't know much about this. I know that she was like a child rapper and turned into like a hoe.
She was famous. She was famous for saying "Catch me outside" on Dr. Phil.
Oh, okay.
It's even crazier. It's even crazier.
She's a famous provocateur.
Yes,
but I'm trying to figure out what it is why, like, there's a reason why she made so much money, and I think that the non-nudity thing plays more of a part of it than first glance, maybe. Like, is it some sort of like long tail tease going on that maybe eventually one day we will see this? Is it like, because it reminds me of when when, in a simpler, much more toxic time, when the Olsen twins, you could go to a website that had a countdown to the day that they turned 18.
It's similar to that for sure.
There's a little bit of that flavor going on where like people have, I guess, enjoyed looking at this Catch Me Outside person. And then now that they are old enough to be an adult and have their own OnlyFans, that adds some weird thing to it.
Yeah. You're saying that guys are like, damn, I watched you grow up and now I want to see your titties is weird. Yeah, it's a little weird.
Well, but at least she's making money. I think the fact that she's not showing nudity, suggestive. She's not showing hog. That sort of plays into
for sure.
The weird.
It's brilliant. The whole thing is brilliant, and I love that it exists. Jason, I can't wait to talk to our guest Chris Ryan about Bhad Bhabie. But yeah, you know Chris from The Ringer, from Spin Magazine, from all the countless podcasts and stories he's written over the years. So let's go tangle with a fellow podcast professional.
Okay. My brother's very excited about this.
That makes sense.
As a Ringer slut. I'm a Ringer slut.
Chris, thank you for joining us on How Long Gone. Are you coming to us from a home studio? Or are you at Ringer World headquarters? I can't tell.
This is Daniel X home studio. I'm coming to you from inside of Spotify's Pod City studios.
Do you guys call it Spotify Pod City, or is that a name you've given it?
We use that name entirely. It's the official designation. No, this is just like a studio that we have here at the Spotify offices.
Okay, yeah, this looks nice, Jason. They got the good chairs. They got the Aeron chairs. We're not doing numbers like that.
Were those Aerons purchased new or used on Facebook Marketplace? Can you confirm that?
I don't know how the Swedes get down when it comes to office furniture, but they're comfortable enough. Yeah.
I'm going to guess that, Jason, those were bought in bulk new is my guess. And that's just, I'm going out on a limb, but that's what I would say.
That's cool. I'm more sustainable, but whatever you guys want to do, especially with plastics, but that's a whole other pod. So you're downtown in the arts district. Is that true?
I am, right next to the Girl and the Goat.
Okay. Or you're saying that like we should know it. Is that something?
I feel like when I've listened to the podcast, you feel like you guys do the run of the LA restaurant circuit.
Yes, but I try not to go downtown as much as possible. But the Girl and the Goat, is that a Chicago restaurant?
It's Top Chef woman. Yeah,
I've been to the one in Chicago. It's actually good. So I apologize for any of that disparagement. But you have to go to the arts district every day.
Like 3 times a week, pretty much. We're still kind of like in transition phase between like COVID work from home and like coming back to the office. There's no real like nobody has to come in, but we do go in to do recording. So you guys don't do this together?
No.
Rarely. When it's one-on-one, we do, but with guests, we've literally never done it with a guest in person.
Okay.
It's asking too much of people. Is what we always say. It's like
to come by.
If you have to put on hair and makeup and drive or get in an Uber to come do it, it's a whole different ask than like you can do this anywhere in the world.
Also, it's impossible for me to edit when we're all in the same room with our vocals bleeding over onto each other's microphones and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But that's just me because I have a autistic editing style where it's gotta be like, But yeah, so thank you for doing this pod. I think it was funny. We had a story. It was like a month and a half ago or something like that when we made this happen. And I was like, oh yeah, Chris, we got to get this guy in the pod. And then like a week later or like a week ago, I was like, Chris Ryan. Who's Chris Ryan? Why do we book Chris Ryan? And Chris Black was like, you booked him. This was you told me to book him.
Yeah, I could feel a little bit of like whose idea was this on the email chain?
Well, because I'm usually in charge of the booking, and Jason's response 9 times out of 10 is, "Who is this? Why are we doing this?" So it was just a nice. It was just a nice. It felt good for me to be in the right for once. It was all it really. That's all it really. That's all it really was.
But whatever it was, Chris, you had. I mean, I was like, we got to get this guy on, but mainly because what you do and what you do on your pods, I was talking about this in the intro, it's sort of like very similar to what Chris and I do, but just in parallel universes where, like you said, we're talking about regional specific restaurants and complaining about valet and stuff like that. And you guys are doing a bros talking pod, but about the NFL and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like these very large, easily digestible things that people love across the world.
Yeah. It's definitely evolved into more of like bros talking. I think the longer we've done it, the more we've kind of loosened up the reins a little bit.
Okay.
Before, I think we used to be a little bit more programmatic about it. You know, like what was their show on Sunday night? We should talk about it on Monday morning. And now I think we're like a little bit looser about it.
Are you doing that because that's what you want to do, or what that is like organically morphed into, or what the crowd responds to?
So for the TV stuff in particular, you know, when we first started doing The Watch, which is the TV pod I do with Andy, it came out of the fact that like Sunday nights on HBO is when people watch TV. They watch Game of Thrones, or they watch Girls, or they watch Veep or whatever. And that was just like it just kind of like the demand was there to have a discussion on the Monday after, because if you went into an office on Monday, a lot of people were like, yo, did you watch Game of Thrones last night? Or did you see what happened on Girls last night? And now it's like, well, TV is not on at a specific time at all. Nobody really watches the same thing at the same time anyway. So we have to have like a little bit more of like a loose feel to the conversation.
How does it feel though now that, because I feel like you guys were doing this so long ago and it's such a high level and it's different, but the fact that TV is all anyone talks about now, does it feel, you know what I mean? Like does it feel like people are coming for you, or is it better for you? This is everybody now.
Does it feel like when everyone started DJing to me 10 years ago? And I was like, you didn't put in the work. You weren't in the trenches with me, bitch.
Yeah. Who's your Pauly D, Chris? That's what we're asking.
It's not even that as much as it's like everything has gotten so specific and niche. So you have like, for any show, there is like a specialty podcast that's like, we know you like this and we like it as much as you like it. So let's get into the weeds with it. And I think Andy and I still, for like 50% of the stuff we watch, we're like, that wasn't that good. Probably stop doing that. You know, and we'll just get like 1 or 2 episodes into something and drop it, which is a little bit of a change of pace for us. The funny thing about TV though also is that like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good comparison, but like you could go to a party, if I went to parties still, I guess. But if you go to a party and everybody's talking about TV, the 5 people over there are talking about Yellowstone in like as if that's the only show on TV, and then 5 people over on the other side of the room would be talking about a show and have never fucking seen Yellowstone.
Bro, have you seen Search Party? It's so good.
There's a Selling Sunset Bravo corner. There's a Yellowstone corner,
and there's so much of it that you get serviced by. Like you can just have like your life, which just like I just watch Bravo, man. I don't know anything about Taylor Sheridan.
That's right.
I don't know anything.
Chris, that's me. Thank you for seeing me. Well, I have become Yellowstone pilled because all of it is available on Delta.
Yes.
And so I did just watch 13 episodes on the way back from Australia. So I basically kind of got off the plane and felt like I'd gotten off a horse. You know what I mean? The way I was moving.
Wah, wah, wah. Wait, Chris, could you tell our listeners how you know? Because like when I'm watching Netflix or Hulu, it'll pick up and save the last episode that you're watching, you know, in sequential order. How do you remember which episode to watch of Yellowstone?
So this is something that I guess, according to Jason, I've pioneered. But when I'm on the plane, when the plane lands and I have to turn off Yellowstone, I take a picture of the screen where it's visible, the season, the show, and then the time that I left off. Because I don't, you know, those systems are shitty. It's scrolling. You're not scrubbing through on the plane. You know what I mean?
And so you don't just remember it by like, oh yeah, this is the one where Beth got fucked up and like tried to like have sex.
Whoa, slow down.
Well, first of all, Beth getting fucked up and trying to have that's every show. That's every episode. No, I don't have a great, I'm not great memory wise. And I think also though, it's like the way when I get in the car in LA, no matter where I'm going, no matter how many times I've been there, I put the address in my GPS. Right. It's a very similar thing. We've been trained that when we turn the TV on, it's going to be where we left it. Mm-hmm. So if it's not, my brain scrambles.
The weird thing is I only do that in LA though. Like in LA, I'm like, there's like, cause I'm like, also I'm always curious about like if there's an optimal way to get to fucking Larchmont, but like, sure. It's not like when I'm in Philadelphia, I don't ever think about like how I'm getting somewhere. It's just like, oh, there's a trash truck that broke down on this street, so I gotta go to the next one. You know, like,
is it because
it's
you
only
feel like
Los Angeles
if you live in Philly, you're sort of made fun of as you're called a pussy if you rely on GPS over there in Philly compared to Los Angeles?
I think that's probably part of it. Is that some dude might carjack me for looking at Waze, but I'm also like, I think because I grew up in Philly. Like, don't you have this with where you grew up, where it's like,
yeah, you know it.
The way you know your hometown is, you can't ever like duplicate that in your life. Like, I lived in New York for 10 years. I would still get like turned around sometimes. I can't get turned around in Philly.
That's funny that you say that, because my parents moved, like they've lived there for a long time, but they've lived in a different place than like where I grew up. So I don't have that experience. It was like that, and now that they moved, I like had to start over.
You talk to BetterHelp about that, Chris? That could be
I need to talk to BetterHelp about it. I know. But it feels like
it could affect your trauma.
Yeah, it's affecting my trauma.
Whenever I'm back home in Orange County and Huntington Beach and I'm cruising around, I'll take the Waze, I'll put it face down on the console and say I got this, because I think there's a part of me where if I don't got this, then maybe my faculties are like, I need to sort of prove to myself in my advanced age that I still know what street comes after that street and where to turn. And if I don't, then I might as well end it all,
using GPS in LA after an experience I had a couple months ago. I went to go see a soccer match at SoFi, and it was my first time going to SoFi. And it was like,
bro, that hell on earth. We can talk about it. Go ahead, please.
Sees Beckham once, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah, sees Beckham once. And I fucking lost my mind because how long did it take? It was an hour and a half door to door, but then 40 minutes parking and walking to the stadium because of where they had to park at the Forum. And every fucking turn was make a left and now get across 2 lanes of nonstop traffic to make another like catty corner right. And I was like, so I just could have been on Western this whole time. But this is probably the California sketch.
These are classic Waze problems where it's like, yeah, I'll just drive through Melrose at 6 p.m. Okay, Waze.
I don't use Waze for this reason.
I like it though. I'm a little more challenge accepted.
Are you that much of a because this happened to me when we went to see The Weeknd. I had a similar experience, and I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to come here again.
No, never.
Like, I think I'm all set. I saw it. It's a crazy building. Show was good, but the nightmare of getting in and out of there is just, any event really is not worth it.
I can't imagine the event would have to be for me to go back. It would have to be like Bruce Springsteen taking requests from me. It would be like, oh, you want to hear Nebraska front to back? Let's go, brother. And
Chris, anything for you? No, that's a good. Okay, I might be with you on that. Maybe not Bruce, but I like that example.
Something,
I like anything.
Yeah.
I think there's like a specific age that you hit where you're just like, whatever it is going to be, unless it is Bruce taking requests from you personally. Whatever it is not worth it at a certain age.
Yeah.
Especially if you're already married or in a relationship. You're not chasing poon anymore. It's sort of like, what's the point,
Chasing poon at my Bruce Springsteen concerts. That's right.
Yeah, there's not much poon. Well, there's some geriatric poon.
Older the berry, sweeter the juice. But speaking of hanging up the poon chasing hat.
Yeah.
Chris and I podcast a pretty good amount, 3 episodes a week. I spend many hours, making podcasts, and I think about how that affects my brain, my relationships and things like that. Like, do you ever feel like when you're talking to your friends or family or loved ones that you're sort of throwing money down the toilet if it's not being recorded? Like, I'm burning some material right now.
So I'm lucky to podcast with a bunch of my friends. So there is like that kind of weird. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel like where you're like if you're at dinner, do you feel like it's also the podcast, or do you feel like it's markedly different? I guess you could probably be more candid or something like that with each other, right?
We're pretty candid, maybe too. I mean,
yeah,
no,
I think
candid. There's definitely, obviously, there's shit you can and can't say. That's just the bottom line.
And the rhythms of the conversation probably change. I do find that, like, because I feel like because I have to be probably so inappropriately plugged into like whatever beat I'm covering, whether it's like basketball or television or whatever.
If you're not talking about, then you're watching games and you're watching TV shows, so it really is all encompassing of your life.
So when I like go back to see my mom, who's in her early 80s, and she like, did you see that there's a show about the British royal family on Netflix? I fucking know. I know all about it. I've done it all. Yeah, like, so like I think I have a much shorter patience for like not like for people who are just discovering things. Damn. And it's really like it really sucks as a.
I'm 100% with you on that. People try to send me memes. I'm like, bro, anything you're gonna send me, I've already seen, or it's not funny,
right?
And that's why I haven't seen it. Like
I saw this meme in early August. I've the tabby swiper. I've seen it, etc. You know, so you're able to sort of separate pod personality and regular personality, or has it gotten harder?
Yeah, I don't know how much of like performance I actually wind up doing anymore, because it's now I'm a volume shooter more than anything.
Okay.
So if I'm doing like 4 pods a week, there's not a ton of like off mic time, or if there is, it's like
Okay,
it's not that much different, you know?
Yeah, because some like I guess I'm speaking personally, because like my wife and I will hang out and spend a lot of time together, and I catch myself like running bits or running material by her instead of being more present, and I feel kind of bad. I mean, I don't feel like it's bad for the relationship, but
Does she call you out on it?
she does sometimes. Well, not really. No, she doesn't. Actually, what she does more is she tries to like run bits with me.
Oh,
And which is kind of interesting, but then it's kind of like, this is kind of my thing, babe. So look, I get it. You're funny.
My entire life is a bit, and I don't want it to be separated. Like
Yeah.
I don't like.
because then you would have the crushing realization of what that means if your entire life is a bit, if you had to be like taken away from it.
Yeah, like I like, who cares? Like what would being more present do for you, Jason? Nothing. Like it doesn't matter. Like that's something people say that I don't think anyone knows what it actually means.
Are you saying that because I couldn't get any more present?
Yeah, I think that's what yes, exactly. You're levitating at a presence level that I've never seen from
Is
another
there such
human
a
being.
thing as too present?
I just think that if we talk about this a lot, but I think if you like your job and you like what you do, then it really does feel like it's just, that's life. There doesn't need to be like these like kind of distinct boundaries in the same way.
What were the last jobs that you guys had that was like you had a separation of work and like your personal life like that, where you were like, I go to this thing and I do it all day, and then I come home and then like I'm a different guy when I go out at night?
When I worked as an intake guy to dry cleaners when I was 16. I'm not exaggerating. I would tag shirts and I would leave. That was it. I would steal $20 every day, do some skateboarding in the back.
Uh-huh.
But that was the last job. That honestly was the last job I ever had that felt like work.
Yeah, I mean, probably the same. When I was like 16 and I worked at Sears in the paint department, and I would have to show up and do inventory every Sunday morning. I'd have to get there at like 6 a.m. and move gallons of paint from a warehouse to the floor and make it look pretty. And that was but then I got into graffiti, so then I started removing certain cans of paint and putting it in other places, which was beneficial. And then I went and worked in the computer department at Sears, and I'd have 5 Gateway 2000s on Napster,
Hell yeah.
slowly downloading, hip hop, dilated people's MP3s.
Yeah.
And it would take 7 hours.
The complete
to get one
DJ
shitty
Premier
MP3.
production discography.
Yeah. I need it all.
Couple TVs
All of
that.
these things.
Yeah.
All of these things.
I had
Bjork's greatest hits, all that shit.
I was thinking about this the other day because I worked pretty much retail
did you?
in record stores from
Okay.
high school until my like early mid 20s. And while like working in record stores allowed me to be close to music, which was really the only thing I cared about,
Music is life.
the one thing I miss is it being like, and your shift is over. Now your shift's over.
Yeah.
I miss the release of being like, yo, it's like, let's go out. The ship, like, we're done here today.
Yeah, sure.
And B, because it was like pre-internet and everything, I miss the like, work is done now.
Totally.
And now you can just go do whatever you want to do.
You can go listen to Elliott Smith at home on your own time, not in the office
Yes,
anymore.
exactly.
That's great. That's a nice separation.
I think a lot of people do things, or especially when you work from home, let alone having an office job that you enjoy. But I think you have to separate and create a lot of things. Like as soon as, this happens, I take a bath, I smoke my doobie, I change into my other clothes. Like those sort of things you have to do yourself to create that differentiation, I guess.
No, I mean it's like, but like I know you do have to find the way to separate Batman from Bruce Wayne on your own.
I'm in Batman mode all the time.
That's
so
right.
but it's going to catch up with me. Like I mean, it has. We were joking, but like my car got towed because I've just been fucking like. I didn't pay the registration because there's just too much going on. I forgot about it. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. It feels like I'm losing my faculties, as Jason said. It feels like, but I don't know if like disconnecting at 9 p.m. is going to fix that. I think that's a fallacy a little bit.
Well, I guess you'll never know until you try. I think the question for you, and maybe Chris Ryan can answer this, does Chris Black need a manager or an assistant more?
I think an assistant. Do you think do you think you really want somebody telling you what the right move is for you, or you want somebody being like, "How can I help you?"
I tell people what the right move is.
Yeah, so you just need somebody to be like, "Hey, man, pay your registration, or give me your card so I can pay your registration."
If you know any really bright USC, UCLA undergrads that are looking for some experience in the entertainment and fashion fields, go ahead and send them my way. Males only. Just you know what I mean? Just it's better that way.
Are you asking me specifically, or is this a broad like shout out to your listeners?
No, you specifically, because you seem I feel like you would maybe know someone. The people that listen to this podcast don't want to help me at all.
Maybe any
so
people. I'm sure a lot of bright young minds try to intern at the Ringer and Spotify. There's a couple duds didn't make the cut.
Hey, you guys, it didn't really work out for us, but I have a great idea.
Exactly.
There's this guy.
There's this guy over in West Hollywood. He needs some help with buying bottled water and paying his registration.
Good news,
on time.
bad news.
It's an easy gig, and you get to listen to him talk to his friend from time to time. There's a lot to glean.
It looks
from
great
that.
on a resume.
Yeah, it looks really great on a resume.
You ever been to the San Vicente bungalows? That's about to change.
He won't get you in there, but he can put you in Soho Warehouse. It's fine. Yeah.
There's a consolation prize.
So you mentioned Larchmont.
Yeah.
Are you where do you live in Los Angeles?
Los Feliz.
If you don't mind doxing.
Yeah, Los Feliz.
Los Feliz.
Yes.
Okay, Chris just ate it all time last night. What say you?
What do I say about all time, or what does Chris say about all time?
What do you
I like
say?
all time. I think I've lived in my neighborhood too long. This is the house that I rented when I first moved to Los Angeles in 2012. I found it through like corporate relocation housing, like for ESPN when I was working at Grantland, and we just never left. And I really love the neighborhood, but it's one of those things where like the stuff in my neighborhood just gets old so fast to me because my wife and I we go out a lot, so we just we kill restaurants so fast. But I do like all time a lot.
So you burn through restaurants like a TV show, perhaps?
Yeah, but it's like, do you guys have that where like you'll just like if you get focused on a restaurant, you just hammer it until you're like, you know what, this tastes like shit. I'm not doing this anymore.
I don't do that with restaurants. I do it with like foods.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm in a backyard bowls phase right now where I go every single day. I'm going to eventually be like, I never want to see this shit again.
Acai.
I'm in now.
Acai, yeah.
I'm in like a mutually assured destruction relationship with Harvest Bowls at Sweetgreen. I'll just be honest. Let me tell you what sometimes I've done here.
Let it spread.
So if I have a recording at like 9:30 in the morning here, I'll come in to the office. It's like a 20-minute drive down Sunset. And if the next thing I have to do is until like 3, still at the office, I will drive back to fucking Silver Lake to go get Sweetgreens and eat it at my house like an English school child, and then drive back down Sunset to the office. I've done it like 3 times in the last month. I'm seriously losing my mind.
That's concerning. I'm going to be honest with you. That's concerning. And this is coming from a Sweetgreen family. Like this is we're pro SG. Yeah. Is there not one local there's not one downtown?
There's one downtown, but like it's easier for me to like just drive back to my Sweetgreen than it is for me to like find a place to double park on Hill Street over here. Yeah. And
so the Silverlake Sweetgreen, great parking lot in the back, tons of room every time, and then that's close to your house.
Yeah, but you know what? Like dudes are now starting to camp out in that. I don't mean like unhoused. I mean like Uber drivers and also like
unhoused. I mean Uber drivers.
I don't actually know what community is hanging out in this Sweetgreen parking lot.
Really?
But everybody is just like smoking parliaments and just long-term parking in there. Like guys are really having
smoking parliaments and long time parking is really funny.
Interesting.
Yeah, and SG has not made a statement on it. You know what I mean? I keep waiting for like maybe like we are aware that our parking lot has become like a community meeting space. I don't know.
I think
it's getting increasingly difficult.
We can go down there and neighborhood watch them.
That's right.
You guys, we got to take this shit into our own hands. You know the police aren't doing anything.
We should get Curtis Silva to come through Guardian Angel style.
Yes,
and just
yeah,
be
we could do it. Yeah, that'd be a great idea. Bring that over to LA. It'd go over very well.
Thank you for the organic Sweetgreen mentioned. Just share your Sweetgreen cashew account with us at the end of the show, and we'll make sure to give you a little love. Okay?
You'll top me off.
I'll top you off.
Have you tried the new protein plates? This is a real question. Okay,
I have actually. Do you ever go to Sweetgreen for dinner? Do you ever go by there for like a quick dinner?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Sure.
There's something about it that makes me feel a little bit sad.
Going to a very busy lunch restaurant at dinner when there's barely anyone in there is depressing. But
yes.
I find
any fast casual restaurant for dinner.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Even what's their other competition?
Oh,
that kind of has a little more of a cafeteria style.
Mixed?
No. I think Jason's talking about my beloved Dig.
Okay.
No, it was.
But that's only in New York, not
thing.
Dig.
But I mean, like Chipotle at dinner is kind of different. No, it's like they used to have one right by the ArcLight. There's one in Glendale by me, and it's like a cafeteria style. And I would always get like a seared tuna, like mashed potatoes, and
not Veggie Grill, right?
Not Veggie Grill. God, damn it.
Tender Greens.
Tender Greens. Even a Tender Greens at dinner with a two-top is kind of dark. Even if you get a little white wine, it's a little dark.
And then at that
point, just take it home.
You run the risk of like the cashier or the attendant like kind of recognizing you from lunch and be like, "Oh, hey,
hey,
what's up, man?"
Dark.
Not from Spotify video, but from lunch.
Yeah.
This feels like something that's happened to you, and that's why you're bringing it up.
Yeah,
it's like, put twice in one day.
Up and put sunglasses on like I'm fucking Chalamet trying to duck the paparazzi, but it's really just because I'm getting miso salmon after 6.
You're like, oh god, Sheila's working a double. I didn't see this one coming.
I can't handle this. My ego can't handle this.
Chris, are you a protein kind of guy? Are you like conscious of how much nutrition you're putting in your body, or are you more of a just kind of sustenance, keep it going guy?
I'm relatively conscious, but it's not something I sweat too much. Like my wife has been back in New York for a couple of weeks now, so I've been bachelor patting it at my house.
You're having some what's your husband meals looking like? Just Sweetgreen?
Yeah,
basically?
I mean, like honestly, like if I'm feeling like I want to treat myself, I go to Forage and get a little Korean fried chicken bowl or something.
Naughty.
I like that you only eat food in bowls. That is something that's something I like that. And you found what you like.
So I think if I were you and I was having a husband meal while the old ball and chain's out of town, I'd be at Ye Rustic Inn watching the Clippers or something.
Put away some wings for sure. Yeah, that happens. I find that LA is not that like hospitable to like the single man who wants a burger and a beer at the bar.
Wow.
I think it's like that's like an East Coast thing for sure.
Yeah, eating alone is an East Coast thing. Eating like here is it's frowned upon.
And like when you go into a bar and you're just like just one, and they put you somewhere like it's a little dark.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do it in New York all the time. Here, that's why I go to Sweetgreen. There's no judgments there.
Yeah,
even under those harsh fluorescents at 6:30. They're just trying to get you out of there. They're not judging you for your time.
We were hoping we could close early tonight.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Houston's is good for a solo burger bar. My wife does a lot of solo dining at Din Tai Fung, actually.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
You can get a spot at the bar kind of easily. Yeah.
Houston's is too busy because people will pull up and eat like groups of 3 will eat at the bar because there's nowhere to fucking sit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, 3 + 1, that's 4. We got room. We got room for a solo, bro.
You guys need a 4th? Can I just jump in here?
You guys need a 4th? I would love to break bread.
Where are you guys at Yellowstone? Where should we go? We should start there.
Yeah, exactly. You guys like TV, right? You look like you watch TV.
Man, Beth's fucking crazy. Let's talk about her, huh?
I wanted to talk about like the Ringer and Spotify universe. There's like I've been reading stuff about how like the Rogan contract is running up next year and what's going to happen. I've been reading about investments in podcast creators that didn't work out so well, and investments in networks that maybe didn't work out so well. It seems like Rogan and Ringer are kind of the two things that are like working really well.
Yeah, I would. I mean,
would you more or less disagree?
I think there are other things that are working well, but like, yeah,
I guess call her daddy maybe, but
yeah.
But there's been a lot of stuff that ended up being stinkers, investments that didn't work out so well, a lot of things shifting around, and I'm seeing a lot of maybe budgets opening up next year. What do you think Chris and I need to do to maybe get a little deal over there?
Swedish blessings, yeah.
To get the Swedish blessings.
I don't need a call her daddy size. it can be smaller than that. We're more of a niche kind of thing, and we understand that. So just keep that in mind.
It doesn't need to be 8 figures high. It can be a mid 7.
I'm personally negotiating the Rogan renewal, so as soon as I'm done that, I'll definitely run it up.
Okay, this is perfect.
Okay. Yeah. You're the guy for the job. I knew it.
Sure.
Leave a couple M on the side for us. We don't take much, but I mean,
yeah.
What do you? I mean, obviously, I guess not obviously, but you may have listened to us before.
I have, yeah, but some of my friends have come on the pod before. I've listened to the podcast. I enjoy it very much.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
So we have friends in the building. This feeling.
I guess
good
maybe
already.
Other than us becoming famous, is there something that maybe you could like some suggestions or tips that might make us a little bit more?
Do you guys really want to sacrifice your pure independence, the ability to just like come and go as you please? You want to be like into corporate ownership?
Look, my wife has a standard of living that is hard for me to maintain.
Chris, let me tell you something about myself. I'll do anything for the right price. And selling out to the corporate lords of Spotify, I have no issue with that.
we do McDonald's ads, so we're kind of
we don't give a shit. Like
the ship's already out to sea.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris, this is not a Fugazi t-shirt that you're wearing right now. That's just like an affectation.
Yeah, no. I come from a Fugazi background.
Yeah,
but I am.
He's a little more.
Chris
This is not a Tom Ford t-shirt nowadays, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That is something that would get me to SoFi is a Fugazi reunion for what it's worth.
Sure.
I like the idea of everybody paying $5. We're going to see Fugazi at SoFi. Parking is $50, but the show is $5.
And the show never starts because Ian's constantly telling people not to like mosh and to respect each other in the crowd. Yeah.
50,000 people. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're not looking to sell out, but I think that we have seen so many of our peers, kind of get to this spot. And it's like, well, the Call Her Daddy is a great example. I've never listened to it, and and now she's doing this tour right now.
Yeah.
And I saw the footage of New York, and it's fucking insane. It looks like it's Oprah Live. You know what I mean?
It's like a convention.
Yeah, it's got the full screens. It's got like furniture. It's like a whole. She wears a headset mic. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking crazy. It's so impressive. What she's done. But like, is it that it's just that general interest, I guess, is a part of it. The same way sports are, the same way TV is in some ways. There's so many people that are interested in it.
Yeah, and I think she actually she's been around. Alex has been around for a while. Like when they did that show with Barstool, and Barstool has such like an incredible fan base for their stuff. So it winds up building and building and building. I mean, that's the thing is that like a lot of the shows that we're doing now have their roots in like doing Grantland and like 10 years ago now. So some of it is just time spent. I'm not answering your question about how much money Spotify will pay for How Long Gone because I just don't want to show my cards yet. You know what I mean? Like,
sure, you're a master negotiator, and your boss has said, "Hey, look, this is the max we can do."
Yeah,
go in there and make it.
Go
get
on
it
the
done.
pod, talk about fucking Sweetgreen for 20 minutes, and then
get it done.
Make your last, best, and final offer.
Yeah, best and final. And I don't know how you can slide a slip of paper across the digital desk in this situation, but
it'll appear in the Zoom chat. It'll say
Zoom chat, but it's a bad iPhone photo of a white piece of paper with a number on it.
We're gonna need a couple more zeros.
It's not that much different than it was when we were at the Ringer. Is the answer to your question? I guess if you're asking like how things have changed or anything. I mean, if you're asking how you guys can get rich, I don't know, but it's like pretty much like the way we were making the company back then. It's just we have a little bit more resources and obviously like the studios and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. You guys do live shows sometimes, live podcasts.
Yeah, we've started doing more now. Like right in 2019, I feel like we were like about to start doing them, and then we did one at Sundance in 2020, and then like right after that, like the COVID hit. So
you did one a little while ago at the El Rey in LA. Yeah,
we did. I know you guys are doing that soon, right?
Saturday night.
We're doing that this weekend.
Yeah.
We've never done a podcast there. How does it feel? What's the backstage like? Which, any
I like the El
insider
Rey
info
a lot as a podcast, like because they put like seats down and there's like this sort of booths almost to the side, so it is pretty cool like actually to do it there, and it's just the right size. I feel like really huge rooms for podcasts are a little bit odd you know?
Yeah, that's why we're keeping it. Exactly. That's why we're keeping it at El Rey. Too big. It just feels impersonal. You know, I don't.
doing a podcast at the El Rey to me seems insane. Like that.
Right.
That's my own private SoFi in so many ways. To think that we're able to do a show there, I'm still processing my inferiority complex or whatever. But
do you feel like How Long Gone fans are like particularly like animated, you know, like as a crowd, like, or are they pretty like they pretty like we keep it cool,
they yell stuff.
It depends on the city.
They laugh.
Let's be honest. Denver and San Francisco, they're dull as a fucking board. But you know, other places they are lit.
When we were in Copenhagen, it was a little different, but that's only because of nobody told us that people wait to show their appreciation and applause after you're done talking, not while you're talking. And that's just like a regional specific type of thing. But
cultural difference.
Typically in our normal cities, wherever we do shows, people are laughing along and they're participatory and stuff like that.
The El Rey is cool. We did a rewatchables at the New Beverly Theater, which was pretty fun. Just as like a not a one off, but like it was a cool experience. Are you guys, Chris? Have you guys ever done Atlanta? Like, have you ever done hometown shows? Would you do?
Yeah, we've done Atlanta. We've done Atlanta a few times.
Okay.
It's fine. It's not the best. It's not. It doesn't touch New York or LA. You know,
right?
His parents come. That makes it different.
My parents come.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's nice. I mean, it's good. It's just. I mean, Chicago's better though. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, it just doesn't. You know, I guess I've been gone too long. Maybe.
Yeah.
That it does. You know, that I have no like. It doesn't really. I'm from there, but it's been 20 years, you know.
But it's not like a sentimental return for you or anything like that.
No. Also, I'm not a big sentimental cat. And the places that I like grew up going to aren't really there anymore, you know.
Yeah.
Like for the most part, like they're kind of, that's what happens, you know. Is Philadelphia? Are there places that you go there where it's like,
you know what really
this was my shit?
Is weird is that my neighborhood in Philadelphia, the neighborhood my mom still lives in, which is where I grew up, has gone through like pretty much this transformation where like I love it now. Like it was always like fun, but it was like I grew up there, so I couldn't really see it with open eyes and everything. It's right by where the art museum is in Philly, and then now all of a sudden there are all these like great bars and restaurants in that neighborhood. So it's actually pretty like fun to go back. Mm-hmm. It's just the same thing though, where it's like everybody who I know in Philly is like either has like 2 or 3 kids or doesn't live there anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens. But I think that I feel the same way when I go back to Atlanta. It's a better place to go now. Like there's more to do. It's like a higher quality. I'm sure Jason feels the same way about Orange County.
Orange County is really the Renaissance.
Things are great, dude. The fish tacos are banging.
There's pros and cons. I mean, like it's become a conservative, racist cesspool that. And they listen to exclusively country music, that's all bad. Where we used to have Sublime and small businesses, but now there's an Equinox and an Erewhon and a Sweetgreen. Like my mom sent me a text yesterday, like, "Oh, the Sweetgreen's opening up in Huntington Beach. Do you know when it's going to open?" And then I texted my friend Nate, who was one of the owners, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll put her name on the guest list for the opening party." And she's just like, "Oh no, you don't have to do that."
Jesus Christ.
So like there are it's a bummer to see your old hometown go, but it's nice to see like it's cool that now my mom can go to Sweetgreen, and if I go visit, I can go to Equinox or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think that stuff is just so inevitable with cities, and the way people cry foul when it happens is just like, what do you want? Like, what do you think's going to happen? You know, especially like in New York, it's insane to me. Like, yeah, bro, every neighborhood is eventually going to be $10 million brownstones. And that's just how God intended it. There's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah. It's like, that's the whole also getting sentimental about city banks. Like this used to be a city bank. Now it's, I mean, like when I was there, that's like, it was every single, there was either a Gap or a Starbucks or both on every block.
For sure.
And I was like, when I was working at Kim's, it was like, that was like really the peak of like, I think it was actually like pretty convenient and fun around St. Mark's, but like the idea of comparing early 2000s St. Mark's to like 1970s
you
Mark's
can't do that.
When it was actually cool. And now when I go to St. Mark's, I'm like, this shit is cooked.
Yeah.
Like, I hate it
for
here.
Sure,
like,
for sure. Yeah, I mean, you worked at Kim's?
Yeah. I was the wrap a rap and indie rock buyer in the back. So I wasn't on the floor that much, but
Okay.
2001 to like 04, I think.
That's a nice sweet spot for both of those genres, I gotta say.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I only worked at Kim's, and then I started working at like magazines and websites and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a success story. I never worked in a record store. And why is everyone that works at a record store a dickhead?
I don't know, because honestly, in retrospect, it's the best job I ever had. It was like so fucking nice. It was just like, yeah, you had to stand a lot.
I got so many free CDs, dude. It was sick.
Can you put things in alphabetical order? Then you can work here. You know? It's like the register will do the math. All you have to do is file this stuff away, and then every once in a while, like, maybe give somebody some like sincere advice about what to buy.
I mean, I do, but it has been like, there's a place in Atlanta I grew up going to called Wax and Facts that's been there forever, and it's like a legendary spot. And I would go there, I mean, you know, for years, multiple times a week.
And they would just treat you like dog shit.
I never cracked that shit one time. No one would even fucking smile at me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they just look like shit, like their back hurts, they're all hunched over. And it's just like, this seems like your passion. Like, that's why you're like, obviously you'd rather be a musician or whatever most of the time.
Right.
But like, this is what you love. You're not flipping burgers.
I've worked every record store I've ever worked at. Like, the internal culture was like to treat people with total contempt.
Why? But that's
I don't know why. Honestly, it was like kind of bracing to enter a new industry and be like, oh, so I'm not supposed to be like a surly prick every morning.
Yeah, every
like,
single thing someone says to me, I have to be like, that's bad.
Yeah.
That could get exhausting.
Yeah, no, it was honestly like, it was never spoken. It was just the idea of customer service was completely foreign. The idea that you would be like, we really want word of mouth to get out there, that this is a fun place to come and shop, and that if you need help finding something, these people are just, they can't wait to help you.
We want to actively gatekeep our products from you that you're trying to purchase.
Yes, and that you're
not ready for this, bro.
interrupting me, like trying to talk to this woman or something like that, or you're interrupting me.
Yeah, like I'm busy. I think I wonder now. I actually, you know, because you go into any cool record store and they have to sell fucking Taylor Swift 180 gram, you know, and Olivia Rodrigo and shit, and that's definitely why their doors are still open.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that surliness may have had to kind of step back, because, you know,
that definitely happened to me at Newbury Comics, because that was the job I had during college in Boston. And Newbury Comics is a really good record store, but as I was there, they started selling South Park memorabilia as like basically like what that was like basically how they made their money, was selling
South Park socks, like
the stuffed poop toy or whatever. And it really like sort of diminished the fact that we would have like a limited edition 12-inch, and somebody would be like, yeah, but what I need is like the chef and the poop to for my kid for Christmas.
That, yeah, I mean, a lot of those places turned into like, we sell toys and comics and all that. Yeah. It's like, that is if records are fucking dorky, the only thing you can make it that makes it more dorky is fucking toys and comics.
Yeah. I don't think Kim's ever went that route, but Kim's is also closed. So
yeah, I was gonna say maybe they should have. Yeah, but, you know, I'm glad they held strong.
Kim's died with their boots on, though. You know what I mean?
That's right.
when it was 20, you said 2001 to 4.
Yeah, like around 4. Yeah.
So you're in your early 20s, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I guess around that time, were you making music of your own at all?
Oh, never. No. Okay. I was
good
like
man.
Briefly in like an emo-violence band in Boston for one show.
That's Boston. And that tracks for Boston.
Never ever.
What did you play in this emo-violence band?
Vox.
Vox?
I played frontman.
His instrument was throat on the liner notes.
Yeah.
I gotta say, depending, like, it doesn't matter. It's regardless of any format, but the sort of hardcore emo to podcaster pipeline is undeniable.
Yeah.
From the Ringerverse to us to so many other shows and other people we've talked to, they're just like, oh yeah, I like Ink and Dagger.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
It's what the University of Miami is to the NFL is what.
Yeah.
the emo hardcore scene was for contemporary
well put.
podcasters.
I don't know what that through line is.
Were you into that in Philadelphia, like growing up?
No, Philly, I was probably more into like rap and stuff in high school. And then when I got to college and moved to Boston, I fell in with a bunch of guys who were doing basement shows in Mission Hill. And that was like, I was into indie rock, but that was like my introduction to this whole other kind of music. Like in some ways, I'm kind of a dilettante because I think I always, even at a pretty young age when it was incredibly uncool to do this, identified more as like a music critic or like a writer or whatever, rather than like a musician or even like, I was a fan, obviously, but like I think I already started kind of like looking at things in this critical way. Like, when I moved to Boston, like that was like I was by myself and met these guys who were like, they were in a band and they were like, they lived around the corner from like the Hydra Head house, and like there was just like, you know, like
sick.
When I got my job at the record store, like there were guys from Cave-In or whatever who would like worked at the warehouse and they would drop stuff off, and it was like much more of a social thing than it was.
Damn, not Cave-In. Oh, damn, not Cave-In, bro.
First Cave-In album is sick, bro. So good.
Classic. No, it's a classic. I think they're back. I think they're back. They all are.
Yeah.
I mean, the best part about Cave-In is how bad that stuff looks now. It looks
the aesthetic,
the artwork and shit looks so dated, like more than other stuff for some reason. Oh, it does. It looks so dated. It looks crazy.
What artwork from that era is not dated?
No, it's all dated, but that one in particular feels like
I think because you're against that aesthetic so much.
Well, it's an ugly aesthetic, but like if you want to put a botch poster in your room, by all means, you go off. But it's an ugly aesthetic. It is.
So wait, what's your preferred aesthetic though from that era?
None of it's great.
Saves the day sitting on the couch.
Saves the day sitting on the couch is iconic. Is the reality. I mean, whether we like it or not, that is an iconic album cover.
It's because it's clean, it's collegiate, it's safe. That's what Chris likes.
I think some of the Converge stuff was cool, and it was just like a painting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or whatever.
And that was the guy who's the singer from Converge did all that, right? Yeah.
But then you see the artwork on shirts and stuff now, and you're like, no. Like, I can't wear that. It feels like almost twee now. I can't explain it. It's a very strange sensation.
It is a little twee.
It is. Yeah, I think so.
Maybe you're not masculine enough to wear something like that, Chris.
I'm definitely not.
No, but he does have a full Jane Doe chest piece tattoo.
Yeah, Jason. Yeah, I know Jason's wearing his tank top, but it's just below it.
I stopped listening to Converge after Jane Doe, or I guess I stopped listening to hardcore once it started doing. I guess emo-violence maybe is when I stopped listening, when the vocals would go from traditional hardcore to like the pussy singing.
Yeah.
Then that's when I was like, I'm out kind of thing.
You don't like a screen. You don't like a fast, like a quiet, loud kind of structure.
I was okay with that, but when it got into that melodramatic, like falsetto singing about like a girl not calling you back.
Well, also
like
not a single one of
summer
them.
School.
Not a single one of them could sing, so that kind of did cause a problem. That no one could actually sing, and it was kind of rewarded.
I was more into
the worse you were.
The start stoppy of like a Deftones maybe was a little bit more palatable for me, where it's like sort of a troubled whisper into the mic.
Yeah.
Versus a
I believe a pained whisper because every member of the Deftones is like a construction worker. So I do know that they didn't get off early today, so they missed their session. So I can't believe
tunnel.
Yeah, it could be anything.
Got a nail through the foot earlier this morning.
Exactly, yeah. Chino got a nail through the foot, and that kind of informed his vocal style.
Oh my God.
The job site was so busy. We didn't even have insurance. It's crazy.
So, Chris, now that you're an adult man in your 40s, as a retired hip-hop head, what kind of new music are you listening to?
I just listen to Botch.
Okay, so Botch only. You're not listening to
Good man.
You're not listening to Young Nudie or anything.
There's nothing. Is there anything new that you're listening to?
Yeah, actually, like there's a lot of stuff that is I think is somewhat referred to as hardcore adjacent that's come out over the last year that I like a lot. Like where it's bands who are obviously like either members were in hardcore bands or like there's elements of hardcore in it, but I really like the Spiritual Cramp record that just came out a couple weeks ago. That's kind of like more like 70s punk meets hardcore stuff and has a little bit of Elvis Costello or The Clash to
Oh,
it. It's
okay.
really good.
Okay.
Then that sounds good.
Yeah, that's really good. I like the Military Gun album.
People love that shit. People love
Yes.
that. I like. Do you like Narrowhead?
Yes, I do.
Yes, that's good too. I like that as
Yeah,
well.
there's like this. The craziest thing is how many bands right now sound like Hum. It's like this random.
Hum is it's that the way that's fetishized on the internet, and they had one song.
Yes,
Is
they had one hit. Yeah,
but
right.
the you know what I mean. Like it's fine.
But you can. If I was like, here's Stars. Do you have to listen to more Hum?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like we it starts and stops with that song.
Yes.
And it there's like a phase where like it was like a reference point. And I'm like, guys, this wasn't a real band. Like they weren't really a band.
No, it's incredible to watch the late 90s get excavated like that and just be like, oh, this is what you guys found?
Of all the things to be like obsessed over, it's like these guys, because that was like an MTV like one hit wonder kind of situation.
Yeah, and they were like in label limbo for a while, and like I think they put out like 3 albums. I like Hum, and they put out a record recently too. Like they put out like a comeback record.
Yeah, I'm all set.
You're good.
I'm all set. I didn't need the first one. I needed one song. I got that from you. We can pack it up.
So there's this David Fincher movie coming out. It's out now called The Killer, and the funniest.
I've heard it's very good.
It's an amazing movie, and one of the best things about it is that the killer, played by Michael Fassbender, only listens to the Smiths.
Oh,
like
cool. Really?
the entire movie, it's only Smith songs that he's listening to on an iPod Nano, and I need to get back to that, or I need to find that. I need to find the one band that I'm putting on a not connected to the internet device,
dude.
That and just listen to that.
You might get me to go buy a ticket to a movie now. That I don't like. It's tough. But
it's on Netflix, dog.
I don't have to go. Oh, great! I'm already a subscriber. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I used to do that where I had the Nano, the bigger one with the screen, and I would as soon as my plane would land wherever I was, I would have like a song that I would play, and that would sort of be like, all right, now my new life in Denver begins.
Yeah.
He'd put on his little Radiohead song and walk through the airport.
Yeah. I put on my Amnesiac, and then like my life is a movie because of Bon Iver.
So disconnected from modern life as I go through this terminal.
Wait, what'd you say? Hold on, let me turn my iPod off. All right, Chris. Well, thank you for taking the time to chat with us. We appreciate it.
This was a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
It was a blast.
We appreciate you. Thank you. I honestly, I knew, you have a rich music background, but I didn't expect emo to come up. So I'm always happy.
And anytime we could get to the aesthetics of Jacob Brandon cover art, I think we've done a good thing.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
What was the name of the emo-violence band that you were playing throat for?
It was called Crash Activated. We played one show with Cattle Decapitation and Tristeza.
Not Tristeza?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going into the crates, baby.
Other than your band, what a lineup. I used to love both of those bands. I mean, I'm sure your band was great too. It's just you only played one show, so it didn't really make it over to OC.
Yeah, too bad.
But that's how you stay mythic. You play one show, you kind of disappear. We just couldn't get along,
Everybody who saw that show started a band that also only played one show.
Yeah, exactly. You've inspired your peers.
I gotta say, I have much like my Hulu menu. I have decision fatigue as to what song will be played at the end of this episode. It's you just threw so many names at me, and I'm fucked up now.
I don't know if Cattle Decapitation's on iTunes, but you can try.
I have the file somewhere. I'm gonna have to rip a 7-inch. I have the technology.
It's probably on an old Nano that you can unlock.
Yeah, he can take it. He can take it out of the Nano for sure.
So I'm gonna call my mom, see if it's in the garage. Well, thanks, Chris. We appreciate it. Check out Chris Ryan on the Ringerverse. He's got how many episodes of The Watch you guys have? Like 800 something now?
We just did 800. Yeah.
Jeez.
We just did the 800th episode.
Cranking.
I know.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
You're making us look prepubescent.
We'll talk to you soon. Later, bro.